How do omega-3s help with inflammation? And what is inflammation resolution? Howdy friends, Tyler here at Healthway Nutrition Center, and today in this quick video we're going to share with you the details about how omega-3 is actually helping with inflammation, as well as addressing the under-recognized topic that is inflammation resolution. We're grateful to have you here with us for this video. Thanks for joining. Let's jump right into it with how do omega-3s help with inflammation? Omega-3s are essential nutrients. They're something that our body has to have to function normally. And when we look at the inflammatory process, two key aspects of omega-3's role stand out to us. Number one, the presence of omega-3s helps shape the initial inflammatory response. To better describe this, we're going to use the analogy of a national emergency response team. So think of a response team responding to a major disaster where we have medical teams and search and rescue. We probably have police or military presence. We have people setting up infrastructure. We have people feeding all of those people. It's quite the effort to organize, and it requires a high level of communication and coordination. Our inflammatory process is very similar. There's a lot of moving parts, and our body needs to coordinate via communication very precisely to ensure that the right things are at the right place at the right time. Otherwise, we can risk having a poor inflammatory response, prolonging the healing and recovery process, and keeping us in pain for a longer period of time. Omega-3s play their role here by being a source of signaling molecules that our body uses to communicate and coordinate those inflammatory responses. So by having adequate omega-3s that kind of counterbalance our omega-6s, our body has a more balanced initial inflammatory response and can better communicate. Point number two builds on this communication and addresses that our immune system essentially uses inflammation like a tool to address a threat to our health. So it might be an infection or it could be trauma/tissue damage, but our body attacks that problem with inflammation. Our immune system is managing this, and one of the key principles here is that our immune system needs to wind that inflammation down actively and pivot towards recovery and repair mode. For a long time, physicians and medical scientists thought that the inflammatory process just kind of fizzled out on its own, and then the body naturally started repairing. We now know that that is not true, and that our body requires an active management process to ensure that inflammation stops or slowly is wound down so that we can actually begin the repair and recovery process. Similar to a natural disaster, if your home is on fire, you can't start rebuilding it yet. We need to put the fire of inflammation out before healthy tissue can replace the damaged tissue, and only after that has happened can we return to normal functioning. So this is what inflammation resolution describes, the key process where inflammation is resolved and our body pivots to actually beginning the repair process rather than the attack process. Omega-3s play a key role in signaling our body to make that transition from pro-inflammatory to repair and recovery mode. So in summary, omega-3s help offer an initial and more balanced inflammation response, and they help encourage the end process to switch to repair and recovery mode, playing their part in guarding against chronic inflammation where the fire never goes out, and thus repair and recovery can't happen, and because of that, those tissues will never function normally or be at full health to support the rest of our body. Now, another common question that comes up in this conversation is, where do anti-inflammatories come in? Are they the same as omega-3s? Do omega-3s replace them? How does this work? We really don't think there's an appropriate comparison here, but they are related and they do overlap. We mentioned that our body creates these signaling molecules from omega-3s and omega-6s, And this is where something like aspirin or many other anti-inflammatories come in by interfering with the enzymes that create those signaling molecules, thus adjusting the signals. So, like many drugs, aspirin is targeting a very specific, narrow aspect of our inflammatory process and changing it in a measurable way. Whereas omega-3s are critical for supporting the normal function of the inflammatory process, and without those omega-3s, we not only risk a less effective and complete or balanced, perhaps is the best word there, of an inflammatory process, but we're also hamstringing ourselves with not having some of the tools our body uses to help resolve inflammation and promote healing. Aspirin can't quite compete with this because omega-3s are an essential part of our body. If it was a machine, we would describe it as a gear or a cog, and if you pull that out, the system doesn't function optimally. So aspirin might be able to go into that suboptimal system and create a favorable result when needed, but omega-3s are part of the system, and we require them to have a complete and healthy inflammatory response. So when comparing those two, we kind of argue there's no comparison, although it can be a little confusing in that they both can offer some sort of benefit to inflammation. For those looking to better support their inflammatory process via omega-3, or perhaps more accurately, make sure that they're not deficient or running low in omega-3, because it does so much more for us than just playing its role in the inflammatory process. We here at Healthway suggest seeking out a supplement that contains 500 to 1,000 milligrams of combined EPA and DHA. For most of us, this will be a fish oil supplement. For those looking to avoid fish, an algae supplement might be just what the doctor ordered, so to speak. Speaking of physicians, we always encourage you to speak to yours before making any changes to your health practices. So remember, there are potential concerns when mixing high-dose omega-3s with strong anti-inflammatories, namely blood thinning or bleeding issues being the most well-recognized. Again, we like a fish oil supplement for most individuals who are not getting adequate omega-3s in their diet, which is a very large percentage of Americans and many of us in the Western world in general. So take a moment to examine your diet, chat with your doctor, and see if you're maybe not getting enough omega-3s to support your overall health as well as inflammation. We thank you for joining us for this video. We here at Healthway invite you to check out healthwaynutritioncenter.com, where you'll find a wide selection of some of the best quality omega-3 supplements, as well as supplements in general. We're a small family business based out of Oregon. We love what we do, and we're going to be here to support you all the way. Until next time, stay healthy.